Okay, how's it going, everybody? This is Omar Thabit. I am here and I am live today with a good friend of ours, Adel Mozip. First of all, Adel, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview with Motivate Me 313. We really do appreciate it, Adel.
I appreciate you as well, Omar, and thank you so much for taking on this great show that you're interviewing so many different people, so many different perspectives. So appreciate that.
Definitely. And our slogan is ordinary people doing extraordinary things. But of course, once you guys get to know Adel, you'll definitely know that he's not an ordinary person. He does a lot in the community. But I'm gonna be moving this conversation to you. So Adel, can you tell the people about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm Adel. I'm 33 years old right now. I have two kids. I do software development for a living. I work for Beaumont Health right now, full time. And I also have my own startup, Spamhead. I've been active with my community ever since high school. I was always intrigued by helping others and always championing others and giving them the opportunities to succeed with me. When I graduated from U of M Dearborn, I looked at my fourth sem yearbook and I saw many of my classmates didn't graduate with me from high school, from college, and that really saddened me. So I started a nonprofit to promote higher education in Dearborn, and we expanded to Detroit and Tramnick, and it was a chapter of the ME Students and Professionals. And I just went with it. I always dedicated time to volunteer. It gives me a huge fulfillment. I really feel very happy whenever I see people that I mentor, people that have mentored me as well succeed. I taught for 3 years. I taught a program called Digital Connectors with Access, and 76 students graduated from that. And seeing them right now being everywhere, some are into computer science and some are in law and some are in business, it's a great feeling to see that. So I'm currently on the Board of Education. It took me quite a trip to get there. I ran twice and I applied for the board 3 times. So it was a challenge, but I love serving my community. I'm here to listen to their aspirations, to their concerns, and bring them forward on a crucial place, which is the Board of Education, which makes a lot of big decisions on behalf of our schools and teachers.
Man, and mashallah, man, that's a lot. That's a lot going on, and you're still young, 33 years old. So the sky is definitely the limit, man. And like I said before, you're definitely a motivation to a lot of people out there, including myself. So going on, no problem. So going on what you're saying about being a senior web developer for Beaumont Health. Can you, like, even me, I kind of wanted to more of understanding of what that job is like. Like, what do you do on a daily basis?
Absolutely. So I'm on a team called the Web and Mobile team, and we're responsible for everything that is web related for Beaumont applications. So we have a lot of internal applications from the intranet, which the employees see on a daily basis. There are also other apps that do a lot of business intelligence, that do a lot of reporting. And I recently worked on a process improvement for the entire company, and we rebranded 3 different websites, and that's to forget Beaumont.org, the main website where people usually go. So that's under my responsibility, and 3 others that are working with me. We also work on developing mobile applications. We're actually working on a nursing app. So it's a great feeling. Every day is a new challenge. There are many customers who are either internal or external that might be facing an issue with utilizing technologies that are related to Beaumont, and they log problem tickets and work on those to resolve them. It's always agile, so that the last project that I also worked on was a serology application for collecting information for people who are giving blood so they can see if they have antibodies for COVID-19. And that actually was like a crunch project. The company wanted it in 3 weeks. So we were working pretty much days and nights to get the application out. And it's technology is amazing. People who are into programming, into databases, into networking, there are many vast opportunities for people for years to come. I see it's kind of the future. And if anybody who is really interested in computer science or those fields, feel free to reach out to me. I've had a lot of people, mentored by me, and sometimes they say, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and sometimes they're like, "Oh, this is too much, too complex. I want to do something more fun, more easier," because sometimes it gets to you, especially if you're looking at code for 5 straight hours. Sometimes it's exhausting, so it's not something like an easy field. So, and it takes a lot of patience, especially when you run into what we call bugs or issues, and when you can't figure it out, you're like out of your world.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging field, but it's rewarding very well, especially that we know that patient safety is impacted by us. So all of the applications must be running 24/7. So it's a great thing to work in IT and healthcare at the same time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that information, and it'll be valuable for someone like you said that might even look into doing things of that nature. So thank you. And another side stuff that you do, because there's a lot of side gigs, is I know you were talking about how you wrote articles for the Yemeni American News in the past, and you did some web development for them. And I seen that I think you still currently do radio talk for United States Arab Radio, or things with that nature. So, what is it like doing both of those things on top of everything that you already do?
Those things are kind of my hobbies. I started working for the American News back in 2009 to design the newspaper, which I took for 3-4 years. And it was a really fun job, producing stories and listening to folks and trying to highlight some problems, some issues, and raising them, kind of public awareness. And education was at the heart of it. So if you look at the archive for the American News, you'll see many articles that are related to education. And that's what even struck me whenever I interacted with principals, superintendents, and I'm hearing all the time decisions are being made by this Board of Education. And in 2015, I'm like, what is this board? How can I take part in making that decision? So that's when I filed to apply first, and then I ran my first election in 2016. But to answer your question, I have a lot of hobbies, and I try to enact on them. US Arab Radio is an amazing show by Leila Husseini, and I started doing sports reports in Arabic. And after a while, she asked me to host some shows. I said, that's fine. So occasionally, it's not like on a regular business, but occasionally I host whenever we have special elections or, important topics that I usually get guests who are experts, and we have like a talk show for an hour on US Arab Radio, and it's really fun. So I'd say this to everybody whatever your hobbies are, try to act on them and do something nice that benefits the community, like how you're doing MotivateMe313. So I really enjoy those things whenever I have time.
Definitely, and I can second that, and I agree to that. It's funny because I had a feeling that you would say these answers, which is why I kind of had like a post about like enjoying your hobbies, because I know that you do a lot of extra stuff. So I kind of posted that yesterday, just so like people can have an idea of someone that does enjoy his hobbies and making something of it as well.
Sure.
So you kind of mentioned this, and I think this is probably one of your most rewarding things that you do is being on the board of Dearborn Public Schools. So what is your favorite part about working on the school board for Dearborn Public Schools?
Definitely, I'll tell you, favorite season is graduation. Seeing all of these smiles on those students and families, especially for first-time families, seeing their kids, immigrants, first-generation immigrants, seeing their kids graduate. It's such a joyful moment, and you feel like you're contributing to this as a board member. obviously we have a lot of responsibilities of overseeing the superintendent, overseeing the college president, because the Board of Education in Dearborn is actually shared governance. So we oversee not only Dearborn schools, but also on Henry Ford College. We approve all of the contracts that come before us, and we debate a lot of issues. It's totally fulfilling to see students succeed, students to say that Dearborn schools help them achieve their dreams, Henry Ford College help them get to their next level, and whatever opportunities that we can do as a board, and making sure that Henry Ford is sustainable, is healthy, is competitive, as well as for Dearborn schools to be always excelling and to produce citizens that are productive and that will do great things. That's a fulfillment that I feel of the small part that I do on the board. And I reflect the community's voices, community's concerns. Whenever anybody has an issue, obviously they have to go through the channels, but if there is an issue that they come up to me, I make sure that their issue gets resolved and their issue gets addressed. The last thing that I want to mention is that people pay property taxes to our schools, and we have to be really fiscally responsible for those dollars. So how do we award contracts? How do we make sure that we are fiscally responsible as much as we can? So I always challenge myself, I challenge my colleagues on the board to always have that in context, because the taxpayers vote for us to be in office, to be the watchdogs for these monies. And it's a crucial job. So I'll tell you, the most fulfilling thing is to see students succeed, and teachers are happy to do their job as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I just learned a couple new things. I didn't even know you guys look over the HFCC as well. I didn't even know that, but there you go. This is why we do these interviews, to learn more. And we were kind of talking about this before we went live about, it was a process for you to be on that school board, but you're here now. So why do you feel it's important to have proper representation on the school boards, or any political setting for that matter, but I guess for your sake, school boards?
Sure, yeah. Diversity is always key for success. When you have diversity of thought, of race, of religion, of anything, and more importantly, thought and perspectives. If you have the same 7 people thinking the same thing, doing the same thing, you run into a situation called groupthink, and you make terrible decisions. But when you have different perspectives, you actually come up with better decisions. So representation really matters in everything. And it's crucial that you hear from your constituents, and that the constituents see somebody who resembles them, who looks like them, who understands, who lives in their neighborhoods, who can really articulate their issues and their concerns. And it gives me joy to see that. So it's crucial that many people from all over the district are being represented, that they're not being marginalized. And I feel like I'm the voice for those who don't have a voice. So from all over Dearborn, when I campaigned in every corner of Dearborn, and I will continue to do that. I'm here to listen to the citizens, to listen to their concerns, to their ideas, to ways of helping the district and the college succeed. So representation really, really matters in those decisions. So you would not marginalize, or you would not forget about a huge segment of your population.
Definitely, and I agree to that, man. Great words, man. I appreciate you sharing that as well. So talking about schools, I'm a teacher as well, and so I can kind of relate to that. There are a lot of question marks regarding if schools are going to be online or face-to-face this year. There's been actually some schools that have already came out publicly and said that they might go online and leave their buildings open for students to come in. So what do you think will happen for the upcoming fall? I guess what's Dearborn Public Schools kind of been talking about? Like, what's the plan for this upcoming fall school year?
Absolutely. So Dearborn Schools has, through the superintendent, formed a committee and many subcommittees under that for reopening the schools, and they're studying all of the options, whether it's going to be in person or online. And I'll tell you straight up, the decision to reopen schools will be determined by those next 2 weeks of how the numbers will go as far as COVID infections. If the rate continues to rise, which is very unfortunate, it's currently happening, then we are going to be doing online schooling. And if the rate is going to be declining over the next 2-3 weeks, then there might be a chance of doing partial opening where some students will be online and some students will be in person. I myself, up to last week, I was thinking, I still want my kids to go to school, man. Teaching them at home, no matter how amazing our teachers are, it's still, the technology is still a challenge.
Yeah.
The students will not sit in front of a screen and take it in for 4 or 5 hours. That's not, good education.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the situation. So we have to make sure that this is addressed, that this is studied very well, that we open whenever we see it safe. And we're not going to open if it's not going to be safe. I can assure you that's the thought of my colleagues as well as on the board. But I'm waiting to see the recommendations from the committee, which has been working diligently with so many people. And it's not just staff and teachers, it's also parents and community members who are experts in their fields. So those recommendations will come from these professionals. We will take those recommendations and approve them next month. But most likely, if the numbers unfortunately will stay rising, the school might be, we're looking at another semester of online schooling.
Yeah, unfortunately, and that's what some schools are already are coming with that conclusion. So it's very unfortunate, but I guess it's better to be safe than sorry. Safety is the most important thing at this point.
I want to mention something, and if you allow me, it's very important that parents get involved more, and I say that first to myself and to others, because we're relying heavily on the parents right now, and unfortunately, some parents will not be able to do that, and to watch also the screen time that the kids are doing. So besides the schooling, there might be other entertainment, that's a lot of screen time. So to be watchful of that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Because we don't know. I mean, there's already some studies of the long term effects, but we really don't know because I feel like people are way more in front of the phones, in front of their tablets, in front of the laptops, a lot more than what it used to be. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
It's definitely something to look into, and I definitely would caution that as well. So. As you know, as I guess you could say, you're still doing some journalism, but I had to do some digging, and I looked at your Facebook profile, and it says that you are a Dearborn father who aspires for quality education for every student in a carbon-free future. So, in your eyes, what does a quality education actually look like?
Yeah, quality education means is that the student gets the fair, equitable education that will prepare them for higher education and also life. It's not just, to be ready for college. It is also to be ready for life itself, life lessons. If our students are getting a quality education, meaning that they're equipped to go to any university that they like to go to, giving them that emotional support as well in addition to all the academics that they attain, so they could be a well-rounded individuals and productive citizens in the future. We live in a world, unfortunately, where drug overdose is huge. There are a lot of people who really, fortunately, fall into the wrong path. So we want to make sure that quality education doesn't just entail academics, but it entails that we will have well-rounded individuals in the society who are going to make an impact and give back.
Definitely, man. Definitely, and I agree. Thank you so much for mentioning that. And I like how you mentioned not just college ready, but also ready for life in general.
Life, absolutely.
Yeah, that's very important, man. So, you're a guy that I already know just off of talking to you and seeing the stuff that you do. You have a lot of goals in life, and you try to attack them one by one. And you've done a great job so far. So, what are some of your personal goals, if you don't mind me asking, in the next 5, 10 years?
It brought me back to the interview days for jobs.
Yeah.
But they always ask this question: what do you think?
Yeah.
I honestly, I just wish that I'm, a person who's enjoying life with his kids. They're gonna be teenagers by then. So hopefully I'll be spending more time with them, and a person who's always readily responsive to his community needs. So hopefully getting somewhere with my startup and being somewhere. But I'm here. I love Dearborn. Dearborn is an amazing place. I'm here to stay, to serve, and to help others achieve their dreams and get to the next level of their life. So I would say, hopefully, I mean, things may change. I don't know what the future holds for all of us. But inshallah, safe and doing well and living life as it is. So 10 years, God only knows, man. With COVID, and things have changed a lot. So we'll see.
Inshallah, man. Yeah, and I agree. Just a question, I guess, just to see what your thinking is, because, like I said, mashallah, you've accomplished a lot. So I don't know if you had plans to be the president of the United States of America or something.
Even other political office, man. Frankly, I admire the people who run for public office and put themselves out there for public scrutiny, because it's not an easy job. It's not rewarding either. It doesn't pay that much money.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work, and it's amana at the end of the day. It is trust that is entailed on you. When people mark your name on the ballot, they expect a lot from you. And I hope that, I have delivered that in my only 9 months. Has it been? Yeah, it's been a year and a few months on the board. And please reach out to me for anything. I'm always available. I always return phone calls or messages. Always trying to help out. Whatever good things are happening in our community, to advance it, to make sure that we are a model for others to follow as well. So I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. And so a question that I always ask a guest of ours is, what gets you up every morning? What is your motivational factor every morning?
Making a difference, especially if I'm resolving an issue that is within my work or with the community, or always looking for new challenges. I don't like to stay doing something over and over again, so always look for those challenges. Coffee also gets me up. So I love coffee. I have to have that 1 cup of coffee in Ramadan. Sometimes it's really rough when you can't have coffee.
Definitely.
So those are my morning get-ups.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. And then the last question that I have is, for someone who may be walking in the same or similar footsteps as you, what advice would you give them? Motivate me.
Sure. Never give up. Always be resilient. Always be persistent on what you have. If you have a dream out there that you want to be somebody, that you want to start a company, that you want to run for public office, that you want to do something that is great for the community or for yourself, work on it like no tomorrow. And don't give up if it doesn't happen the first time, the second time, third time. Always maybe change your strategy, change your, how do you approach things, but always have faith in God that He will help you, and always be persistent. In 2018, after after I lost, people were like, this guy's gonna give up. He's not really gonna apply or run it again. And it's great to prove some people wrong.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's to show yourself first that you're capable of doing it, and to break through. And it's great to be the first, but it's also great to be the best. So whatever that you want to do in the future, make sure that you like it, that you enjoy it, that you want to do it very well, and you do it well. Because I always tell people, especially when they're deciding majors, you don't want to do a job that you're going to hate. It's going to really suck. So it's a crucial decision. Make sure that you take your time, you take your present. And if something that ends up that you're not doing, that degree doesn't really mean that you're going to be doing it. You could do totally something different. My degree is in computer engineering. I'm supposed to be doing computer chips, but I'm not doing them. So I minored in computer science and I have an MBA from Wayne State. And I did a business degree because I love that field as well and I wanted to get more of it. So here's another chance. You have a master's degree. So don't limit yourself to that box or to even a 9-to-5 job. Do something different. Try to always look for those things. So hopefully that instills any inspiration. I'm really an ordinary person in life. So people tell me, how do you do all of these things together? And it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot. Sometimes it really gets me. And, walking in the park, biking, or going on the beach is really what relieves, getting closer to God is prayers and at night. Those things really help you relieve the pressures that you get. But always be persistent.
Definitely. And thank you for sharing that information. Any final words, any final thoughts before we pretty much close out this interview? Any one thing you want to mention?
I'm really in love with your show, man. Keep doing the great things that you're doing, inspiring other people to do the right things. And the last thing that I would say, surround yourself. This is to everybody who's listening to us. Surround yourself with people who are doers, who are, doing other great things to inspire you as well. Culture really matters, the culture around. That's one thing for the youth. I'm really proud of all of the youth who are graduating, who are doing great things for our community and giving back. So please don't hesitate to contact me for any questions that you have or any help that you think I can help with.
Thank you again, Adel. If you want to just hang on before when I end the video, we could just chat for a little bit. And for those that are watching in the future, thank you guys for tuning in. This is another interview on Motivate Me 313. It's Omar Tabi, Adel Mozip, and again, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Omar.